Hey everyone, for my speech I will be talking about my occupation, which is firefighting, and the different certifications we actually use on the job. Most people aren't aware, but fire protection is actually rarely used for us. More often than not, our scenes have nothing to do with fires, so these certifications actually better prepare us for whatever we have to deal with while on scene. The three I'm going to talk to you about are confined space rescue technicians, hazardous material technicians, and EMT1s or emergency medical technicians. And there's definitely a lot more than that, but I feel that these three will definitely give you a better understanding of what we have to deal with. The first one I'm going to talk to you about is confined space rescue technicians, and those are going to be the people who deal with trapped victims or areas that we can't get into. They're going to be the people who use the jaws of life, which is one that a lot of people know, which is going to be a big tool that can either cut into metal or spread it apart, and it's going to allow us to get in to help that victim out in a vehicle accident, say. And another thing is, for say a manhole caves in and we need to lower someone down in there safely to extract those victims, those rescue technicians are going to be who we go to, because they're going to know what ropes to use, what harnesses we need, and how exactly we need to go about doing this safely. And they're also going to be the people in the harnesses actually executing the plan. So it's definitely something that is critical, especially when our normal means of egress aren't effective. But the next thing I'll talk to you about is hazardous material technicians, and those are going to be the people who, anytime there's a spill or a leak of a hazardous material, whether it's a poison or just something that's flammable, the hazardous material technicians are going to be who actually identifies the substance, and they're going to be able to tell us what precautions need to be taken and how far people need to be evacuated. And they're also going to be the people who suit up and go into the scene and either secure it or contain it, whether it be sealing up a drum or patching up a busted pipe. Whatever needs to be done, they're going to be the people who actually go in and take care of it. The other thing that they do is also takes care of decon, which is extremely important, because when other people come on scene, like bioenvironmental or even just photographers to document what's going on, when they come out of that scene, they need to be properly decontaminated, and those hazmat techs are going to be the people who set it up and run it to make sure that that's effectively taken care of and scene safety isn't breached. But so that's why hazmat technician is very important, because it also prevents mass casualty, which is usually what you're dealing with a hazardous material. But last thing I'll talk to you about is EMT1s or emergency medical technicians, and I feel that that's going to be one of the more important certifications you can get, just because more often than not your call is going to have to deal with some sort of medical emergency, and almost always the fire department beats ambulances or police department to the scene. So for example, I've been at Elmendorf Air Force Base for 1 year, and I've been on 87 calls, of which 64 were medical emergencies, and also of those 64, 59 of them we were the first truck on scene. So there's going to be those times where you have to handle a situation before the ambulance gets there, and without an EMT, there's not much first responders are going to be able to do if, it's dealing with a spinal injury or, anything requiring higher needs. But another example would be if that patient needed medication, an EMT is certified to administer it, in other words, an IV. So if a patient is overdosing, that IV is going to be crucial to whether or not that patient's going to recover. And if the ambulance isn't on scene for another 5 minutes, without that EMT, you're kind of just going to be, out of luck. So I feel that an EMT is definitely going to be one of the most crucial certifications that any firefighter gets in their career. But so those are the three that I had to talk to you about today. Just to wrap it up, again, firefighters deal with multiple situations, and it almost never deals with an actual fire, and if it does, it's almost always going to have that medical situation, so you're going to need that further knowledge just to get through even a basic fire. And hopefully that gave you a better understanding of what we do and how complicated it can actually be. So if you have any questions, please feel free to post them down below.